What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined as always by my dad, Sean, and today, reactions to the classics. We got a first-time artist here that we're going to review.
Yes.
Mr. Van Morrison with his 11th studio record, Into the Music, and this comes courtesy of suggestion from our longtime patron and supporter, Sean. And Sean, always appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
And I was looking forward to diving into some Van. We did the top 10.
We did the top 10, and I've listened to a couple of his albums, just one or two times, but never in sort of depth like we go here.
No, yeah, I've heard Astral Weeks, but that was it. Going into this,
and I've heard Moon Dance, so those are the two that I've dove into.
And so, if you like this show, be sure to give us that big thumbs up. That helps us out, as well as hit that big red subscribe button. And you can also link up with us in our great communities on Facebook and Instagram down below. And if you'd like to have us review a record like Sean did, then hey, man, maybe check out our Patreon page down below.
Much appreciate our patrons, man. Makes it possible to keep the channel going. Also, check out our link for our podcast. Drops every Friday. If you like these, you will like that. Trey already mentioned the 11th studio album, released in August of '79, recorded in California with Mick Glossop as the engineer. So Van sought to return to his more profound and transcendent style after the pop-oriented Wavelength. The record received favorable reviews from several music critics. It was named one of the year's best albums in the jazz and pop critic polls. And during the recording of the album, one of the musicians, trumpet player Mark Isham, referred Morrison to Pee Wee Ellis, who lived nearby. Morrison brought him in to do the horn charts for Troubadours, but Ellis remained and worked on the entire album. Does a fantastic job. Van wrote most of the songs while he was staying with Herbie Armstrong in the Cotswold village of Epwell, England, and the sense of place is reflected in the spirit of the music. So during this time, Van would actually take his guitar, walk through the fields, and start to write some of these songs. And then he said in an interview that this was the first album in a long time he felt like it was him, that he really wasn't feeling it in wavelengths, but this was really him, and that's why he called it Into the Music.
And yeah, we're going to start this with Bright Side of the Road. Went to 63 in the UK, didn't break the top 100
It didn't.
in the US, which is a shame because this is a great song.
It really is.
A great opener. You're automatically introduced to that sound that we get in a lot of this record with that piano, the horns especially, and Van actually pulls out the harmonica. He doesn't do that much on this record, but hey, he does it for this song here. You have some sweet backing vocals by Katie Kissoon, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which contrasts well with Van's more gravelly type of delivery. And hey, man, this album has a lot of moments where you kind of want to look for some optimism and some brightness, as the song suggests, the bright side of the road.
Yeah, it lives up to its title.
Yeah, so I dug this one.
Some people think it's an answer to the song The Dark End of the Street. He is asking her to stay with him and do life with him, that it goes quick and they can be together through good and bad. I really enjoyed. So yes, a great opener. Takes us to another song. The second song I think is fantastic.
Oh, me too.
Man, Full Force Gale.
Yeah, and this here is the highlight. We got Ry Cooder playing slide guitar.
Yeah, man.
And that's one of the musical highlights, not only on the song, but I think on the entire record. And here we have a little bit of a gospel, not only a musical influence, but also lyrically. Yet Van manages to navigate this. It's sometimes tough when anybody's talking about their religion, but he comes across as authentic and not really preachy.
Yeah.
And it's just a very powerful tune coming out of the gates here with Bright Side of the Road and then Full Force Gale. A great 1-2 punch, in my opinion.
But the theme of the song is no matter where he is, the Lord is always with him, lifting him up. Great vocal performance. One of my favorites, as I said. That's going to take us to a 5+ minute song. Stepping Out Queen.
And yeah, on this we again kind of switch up a little bit of the instrumentation because the violin is introduced here. We of course have the horn sound that is predominant through most of these tracks, but we even have a violin solo, I guess you could call it, midway through, which hey, you don't hear every day. And this is a little bit more, I think, ambiguous in regards to meaning.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it could either be interpreted as almost a spiritual or a relational kind of call to this queen that Van is speaking of here. So not as good, in my opinion, as the first two tracks.
No, not at all. But I mean, that's an awfully big thing to live up to.
Still a solid tune, and then that's going to take us to track 4.
Yeah, Troubadours. And Trey, you're a smarter guy than me, and many of you out there in the RTTC land are smarter than me, but I had to look up what a troubadour was.
Not a common word here used in the States.
No, so I've got a definition for you. It's one of a class of lyric poets and poet musicians, often of knightly rank, who flourished from the 11th to the end of the 13th century, chiefly in the south of France and the north of Italy, and whose major theme was Courtly Love. He's also a singer, especially of folk songs. I think he blends the two together. They're singing Going Through Town. The people gather as they sing Going Through Town. I think it's a pretty good track.
Yeah, man, after this and what Van was talking about, the Troubadours, I think I'm going to try to be a troubadour, man.
I think you should bring it back, man. It looks like they lasted for about 3 centuries, man. So it looks like there's a little bit of...
we'll get that revival started.
Let's do it, man.
And this actually had, I think, more a folky side
to it.
Yeah,
it did.
Van actually pulls out, well, not him himself, but the penny whistle coming out in full force here, gives it that more folky kind of atmosphere to the track. So a neat little tune here. We go to track number 5.
Rolling Hills. This one is referred to as a joyful song in which he directly refers to Christianity and to living his life, quote, in him and reading the Bible. Repeats the lines right away. If you read the lyrics, it's a really nice technique. Starts kind of Celtic, voice much deeper and rougher. Hard to understand. Just a different kind of lyrical delivery on purpose. I like it. I mean, he switched it up, but it's definitely different.
See, and I actually wasn't, even though I enjoy the message of the track, because it had those religious themes that
I like the lyrics.
That full force Gale kind of had. I wasn't a huge fan of his enunciation.
No, this is my least favorite song, but lyrically it was nice. So when you balance those things out, it's still an okay song.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you right there on that one as well. And yeah, I don't really have too much more to add. And then we end out side 1 with You Make Me Feel So Free. And here he's looking for a girl, finds her, and that's really all he wants. He doesn't want the money or the fame, but unfortunately it doesn't work out. And he has a great line in here.
Yeah, I heard them say that you can have your cake and eat it, but all I wanted was one free lunch. How can I eat it when the man that's next to me, he grabbed it? Lord, he beat me to the punch. Nice sax solo in this thing. Lots of keys in here. One of my favorite songs.
Yeah, this was definitely a bounce back, I thought, from Rolling
Great way to end the
Hills.
side.
And as you mentioned, we had 2 songs that were more kind of Celtic folky, and then we brought that energy back up. I like I like both those styles. But,
I do too.
Whenever they kind of switch them up from song to song, it keeps things fresh, keeps things interesting. And the way Van was describing this gal, hey, he made me want to meet her, man. Made me want to feel free.
No joke. That's going to take us to the second side. First side has 6 songs. Second side only has 4. So an interesting way to arrange them. Usually artists, especially back then in the album world, like to balance out the tracks evenly, but I like the way he did this. So we're going to start out with Angelou. It's 6 minutes, 48 seconds long. In this one, he's walking in Paris. He meets her and wants to make her his. He repeats words and lines a decent amount on this one as well. There's some spoken word in it. Not a bad song.
No, this wasn't a favorite of mine, but
as
you
mentioned,
either,
but different. It's a different song.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. A bit almost stream of consciousness, like lyrics that
exactly
reminded me of his some of his tunes on Astral Weeks.
Yes,
kind of going, I think, in channeling himself into that regard. And again, just taking you on a journey, one you just kind of close your eyes to, and just see where Van's gonna take you, man. And a lot of these on-site too are more longer tracks like this.
They are.
As is the next tune, And the Healing Has Begun.
8 minutes long. One of my favorite tracks on this whole thing.
Oh, me too.
Biographer Brian Hinton calls it the central song in the album, perhaps in Van's whole career, which is quite high praise. Basically in the song, they're coming back together after falling out. Even has a spoken word part towards the end, kind of the second time he's used that in here. Really nice. Like, it is a great vocal performance.
Oh, definitely. And this one, again, reflects Van's unique ability to kind of convey some of his emotions and themes, but in a way that the listener can grasp.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
Not like too heady or whatever the case may be, or too personal to where the listeners can't latch onto something.
Yeah.
I think Van's got a good skill in that regard. He had the interplay between the piano and the organ, which made for a unique arrangement. And man, I was hoping Van would be able to play that Muddy Waters record for his love here. Hopefully that worked out.
Well, hopefully at some
for
point.
him,
Exactly. We're going to go to track number 9, the only track on here that Van did not write. It's All in the Game. It's written by Charles Dawes and Carl Sigmund. The most successful version was recorded by Tommy Edwards in 1958. Sigmund composed the lyrics in 51 to a wordless 1911 composition written by Charles Dawes, who was later the Vice President of the United States under Calvin Coolidge. It's the only #1 single in the U.S. to have been co-written by a U.S. Vice President or a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, which Dawes won both. So
I don't think that'll be broken anytime soon.
I don't think it will be either, but if you ever comes up in a trivia contest, we got you here at Reaction to the Classics. You are locked and loaded. It's about the game of love, heartache, difficult changes to everything being good, and the cycle continues. In the game of love, Trey's a solid song, a more soulful performance from Van, which it needed to be.
That blue-eyed soul that he's kind of famous for, and I thought this was one of the prettiest arrangements and best vocal performances, as you mentioned, on here, and it's always interesting to see what artists that are as good as songwriters as Van is, whenever they cover a tune. What are they going to choose? And I thought Van chose a great track here, especially just since there is only one cover on here. It's kind of a little bit of heightened importance, I think, in a sense.
And I think he gives a great vocal performance, which is also on to that point. A lot of times when guys are singer-songwriters and they write all their own songs, when they sing someone else's song, you can sometimes tell they're maybe not quite as into it because, you write a song, it's kind of like your child, man. You know exactly.
On your heart.
Yeah, and it's not when you cover it, but, man, he gives a fantastic performance here.
And we finish off with You Know What They're Writing About, again, a 6-minute-plus long tune, and I think it was a fitting closer to a record. Van delivers an increasingly hushed vocal at the end of the track, and at the end of the day, Van really wants her to meet him at the pylons. And I hope she does, because at the end, he just keeps saying, meet me at the pylons.
He does, and he used the same technique on this song as he did a couple others, where he repeats the lines a lot. This one's very short lyrically, even though it's over 6 minutes long. And I thought it was a great way to end because it's very representative of the sound of this album.
No, definitely. I think it was a fitting closer for sure, man. And already we're wrapped up. 10 songs, nice, concise. And now we'll go to our favorite tracks. I got first two, Bright Side of the Road, Full Force Gale, and then I also have that longer Journey song, And the Healing Has Begun.
And the Healing Has Begun, Full Force Gale, and You Make Me Feel So Free. So that's going to take us to our overall score, Trey. What do you got on this one?
Well, this was, again, nice and concise. 10 songs, didn't overstay its welcome, even though you had some longer tracks in that second. You had a couple more folky-inspired tunes. You had that spoken word. A lot of the record had that rich, horn sound in there with the keys being very prominent. And, there weren't a lot of tracks on here that I thought were, oh my goodness, overwhelmingly great.
Agreed.
But there weren't any tracks on here I thought were bad. So,
exactly. Very consistent, solid.
Yeah, and of course it's Van Morrison, man. Some fantastic lyricism and stories and that he takes you on here. I really dug this one, and I'll be curious to hear more of Van's tunes. So for me, I thought this was a very good record. I'm going to 7.5 out of 10.
All right, well, I'm going to echo a lot of your sentiments. I think the instrumentation is just fantastic on this. Very rich. Every song brings something to the table. The album sounds very similar. Every song sounds very similar. There's a few exceptions, but that's actually a good thing. Very, very much a consistency, cohesiveness. You can listen to this thing from front to back and not get bored, not monotonous, but just a nice, consistent sound. So for that, I'm going to give it a 7.75.
Yeah, and you can tell, as you mentioned in the quick facts, Van's heart's in this one too.
Yeah, very much, man.
Which is something you always appreciate when an artist is passionate. It kind of makes you a little passionate listening to it. So let us know, y'all, what you think of Into the Music down in the comments below. Shout out to Sean for suggesting this, and who knows, maybe we'll have some more Van up here soon on the channel in the future. As always, Dad, appreciate the research, and until next time, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Happy listening, and we will see ya.